It will be a long talk. Kalau macam tadi punya presentation tadi tu, they should emphasizekan pergi dekat Pakistan saja. Jadi orang tak argue benda tu.
Itu tak juga, tapi dia punya versi macam very good. I mean, it's how to achieve them. Kalau dia macam ni, dia nak tunjuk macam kalau kita kata benda tu memang ada security, which is already understood. Macam unless people want very concrete proof, ada orang tak convince.
Kalau tak akan banyak orang tanya. Jadi bila dia kata nak kaitkan benda ni dengan isu Pakistan, nak kaitkan nanti isu Pakistan tu better dia emphasize kata yang dia nak kaji ni berkaitan yang ada dekat ke Pakistan ni lagi senang. Jadi orang tak boleh nak fight sangat sebab kita pun kawan sana.
Okay, good afternoon all of you. So it's afternoon, which means most of you are feeling sleepy. Have your coffee. Have you all had your coffee? Your tea? Have? It's ordering one. Put up the hand. You already. Some of you I can't see this side of the room because Nawaz behind the video. So Nawaz, a PhD student, just finished his PhD in security, just submitted. That's it. And I'm going to talk today on botnets. This is my second talk here on botnets. I gave a talk earlier on botnets, which covers the general aspects of botnets. Today's talk is actually a technical talk on botnets. It actually talks of how we can go in there and look for botnets, how to actually detect the botnet. So it's a little bit technical. I hope you don't fall asleep. If you need coffee, please feel free to walk out and get some coffee. You all are familiar with MUST, I think, by now from my last talk. And also, it's a major discussion in the field of internet security. Botnets are basically robots created on the internet. They infect your computers, they infect your smartphones. Now they can even infect your embedded devices. And at the command of the bot commander or bot owner, it will then be able to do things as they request. Generally, one of the most important things botnets are used for are DDoS attacks. DDoS are denial of service attacks. What is a denial of service attack? If enough computers request something from a the server becomes overwhelmed, and then the server stops functioning. There is very few things in the world today, or ways in the world today, to really stop a good DDoS attack. You cannot stop it. A good DDoS, a person who crafts a good DDoS attack, he can take down the server. If he has enough volume, enough people attacking the server, he will take it down. Okay? This slide was done for me in 2016, 2017 as part of a presentation to government where we have done some analysis on DDoS attacks in their country. The DDoS attack at that time in 2015 peaked at 500 gigabits. 500 gigabits is a lot of bandwidth. And imagine if your DDoS attack, a single DDoS attack can actually peak at 500 gigabits. In a smaller country like Malaysia, that means our entire networks go down. Here are some examples of DDoS attacks. Pay-per-click, that's a easy one, good one. You want to make money, you create a robot that goes and clicks. Every time somebody clicks something, you get paid for something. Create a robot, spread it around. So all of a sudden, Avi's computer is actually clicking without him realizing it. He doesn't pay for it. So he doesn't feel anything. Right? Who pays for it is the guy who is subscribing to the advertising company. Like if you're subscribing with Google, every time someone clicks on your link, you you pay them. I don't know if you all realize, you can go into the Google, Premier list. And Google is very, very nice to entrepreneurs. They only charge you if somebody clicks on the link. So if somebody wants to make money, they'll create a robot, they'll keep clicking on the link, and you end up paying whoever is the advertising company. Zero access, crooks get built up to 100K US dollars, right? From 1 million zombies. This was what was actually reported. That was for zero access. Just one of those click softwares. Here's a very short and brief description of, it just talks a little bit about what botnets are. Again, just a reintroduction to those of you who are not familiar with it. Basically, you have control servers, you have the guys who want to actually spam, you have the botnets, and people who are then sending out mails, spam mails to botnets. You've got malware luring new nodes to become botnets, to join their botnet army, and then these guys then pay this guy to do this job. What does that mean? That means if Turaj wants to advertise MUST, he creates an ad for MUST, but he doesn't know who to send it out, right? He's a global, MUST is a global university. So he contacts one of these guys or advertisers and he says, I can advertise for you to 1 million students. I can email it to you for 1 million students. He says, I will only charge you 10 cents an email. So 1 million means how much? Turaj, how much?
100K.
10 cents an email.
100,000.
So the price is too expensive. Then he says, okay man, I'll give you a special deal today. I'll only charge you 1 cent. How much is that now?
10,000.
10,000. So Turaj thinks and says, okay, that's quite good a deal. 10,000, 1 million students. So he says, how do I know it's valid, guaranteed and all that? These guys don't guarantee you. They have their way, they will actually guarantee you. They're quite good in what they do. Quite honest, decent guys in this side of the world. They're quite honest. They're salesmen, right? They're businessmen. I will guarantee you 1 million. So Turaj says, okay, as long as it reaches, I'll give you 10,000. What these guys will then do, they have their database of emails, of which these are already confirmed reliable emails. They will then mine those emails using students who have studied data engineering. Right? So some of you have studied data engineering. You'll say, oh yeah, I know how to mine that database. I'll tell you which of those are students. And from there, with maybe a margin of 25% error. Error means 20 out of every 4, 1 may not be a student, 3 will be students. So how to overcome the margin? He will then make it to 1.25 million or 1.3 million people, guaranteeing that at least 1 million will be students. If more, it will be. Remember, it's an automated process, cost him nothing. Right? Once he sends out the mail to the control server sends it out to 1.25 or 1.3 million people that have been identified in the list. If it sends out from, you may just say, why doesn't he send out from his own machine? Because when you send out that much email, people consider you a spammer. Uplinks will consider you a spammer and block you. Right? So what do? They spread it among different machines. One of which will probably be Turaj's machine. Right? Without you knowing it, your own machine will be then sending out those emails. So there'll be about 1,000 machines sending out emails. So now it's 1,000 divided by 1 million, that's about 1,000 emails a machine. Right? So it's not so bad, about 100, more than 100. There are 1,000 emails a machine. Not so bad. So most of the email servers won't block that traffic of emails going out. Okay, so you've now outreached. He's managed to get his advert to 1 million people. Legitimate transaction. He asked somebody to send 1 million. This guy charged him 10,000, did the job. He then had to pay probably for the botnet for hours, maybe $100 an hour to use that, $100 to $200. You see the whole thing, the whole cycle. If you really look at it, it's on the borderline of legal and illegal. What do you consider legal and what do you consider illegal? Right? He says, look, I did a service. I used the internet. Did I do something illegal with it? So the question now is yes or no. But if the bot sat on your machine and he did not ask your permission to use your machine to send out those emails, yes, that's not right. He's used your resources to send it out. Right? But you have to discover that. And it's a long process to go backwards. Back to here, then back to them. Almost impossible. And I'll show you now how it takes, the time it takes to try to actually do a detection of that sort. So here you have crime-scene internet, right? So here you have data, some data here, and then human versus bot traffic. Take a look. You've got human, you've got bad bots, and you've got good bots. Bot traffic is more. Almost, here it is almost the same, but here it is clearly more than human traffic. Most of you would not have realized this or figured this out. So let's say 2013, 40% of your traffic on the internet was from humans like you, hitting a thing, going to Google, doing a search. The other 60% of the traffic on the internet was auto-generated. You're sitting there saying that doesn't make sense, right? Professor Suresh is standing there on stage bullshitting. This doesn't make sense, right? Why would humans control the internet? We control the traffic on the internet. So why would our traffic only be 40% and automated traffic be 60%? As I'm giving this talk here, some of you have gone on the internet and done a Google search. As I'm talking here, some of you would have said, okay, let me look at this data. The moment you do a Google search, you have activated the Google bots. By the way, Google has a lot of bots. You have activated the Google bots, the Google crawlers, who will then activate more crawlers, who will go out there to seek the data you want. So from your one message, you have generated about 10,000 messages on there without you realizing it. So it is actually created by you. All those automated requests was due to a request created by you. You said, I want to know who Prof Suresh is, and it is lying about this data. Right? And you started and Google said, okay, we are automated. We don't do this manually, our robots will now take over and get you the answer. And so you generated a $100,000.
If that's the case, how do you detect if on the normal traffic what is a normal?
How do you detect what is robots and what are not?
Yeah.
These guys are their means. They have their means and they use. They know they look at traffic, they look at the source. I don't exactly know what they use to generate this particular chart, but they do. So, good bot, and as I get it, you will understand a little more properly how they did it. Good bot traffic is, okay, then in bot traffic you have two ones, good and bad, right? So the Google search is a good one. Google search no one got, because you generated it anyway, you wanted the data. So you were asking for data. Bad bot traffic is when, for example, spamming. Right? All of you get those emails, right? What is that? We have the Nigerian scam. Those are phishing mails, by the way. They're not even spam mails. Spam mails is the one that you get cheap Viagra on sale. That's a spam mail. Right? What else you get? What are the common ones I see? The one is common. You got a lot of them. I want to be your friend tonight. Get that. That's very common. So you get a whole bunch of them coming out, and those are all, that to me, that's bad bot, right? Versus good bot. Good bot is steady because they're primarily information gatherers, only needing to gather so much information. Bad bots are larger in numbers because they're designed to trade on successful targets. Okay, so bad bots are growing bigger, good bots are growing smaller. These are the good guys in terms of bots. You got the crawler, the trader, the nerds, and the intern. And crawler, search engine. I don't need to go into details about that. You're all PhD students. Any master students here? No, they're all PhD. So that's a bot crawler. The trader, you'll be surprised. One of my friends, he was a keynote speaker last year. He came from the US. He actually built a bot that did trading. It did currency trading online, speculation. So it takes very small changes but very fast trading, which is too fast for a human being to react. So you need a bot to react to those things. Right? So those, you'd be surprised. Huh? So that you think people talk of this as fiction, it's not. A lot of your trading sites actually use bots to do the trading. They set the parameters. They say if your thing goes more than 1 or 0.1% stuff, they make their margins on very small. That means they make their margins maybe on 0.03% would be their margin. But they make enough such small margins that it adds up. So you cannot, as a human, if you sit there and do that, it won't add up. You get 3 cents, 5 cents, 30 cents, $3 per sale per transaction. And you can do what? Maybe 10 of those or 100 of those in 1 hour. They make $300 an hour. That's not worth your time. Right? But when you use a bot, you can do 1,000 such transactions within a minute. The bot does the transaction. You're not even there. You set the parameters, you go off. You come back. If you're lucky, good day in the market, you may have made $3,000 to $30,000. But your bot algorithm is not be good. The NUS. What is the NUS? The NUS are things like you do speed tests. A lot of you go back, you blame telecoms. Telecoms is slow, you do a speed test. Guess what? You just started a NUS bot. Okay, you say, oh, my internet's not good. It's my web healthy. All those are NUSs. And what is the intern? What's generally an intern known for? Dr. Wan, what's an intern known for?
Doing low-level work.
Interns are known to be cheap, if not free labor. Right? So, here the intern, he does fetching content. Since he can't fetch coffee, it's a bot intern. He fetches contents to updating weather conditions, censoring language, commenting on chat rooms. He does all the mundane work that nobody wants to do, but can be automated and be done automatically. That's what the intern does.
So these are the ones in the RSS feeds.
Pardon?
And those used in the RSS feeds. So those RSS feeds, those websites. RSS feeds.
I don't know what that is.
So a normal blog that runs and gives you all the.
Oh yeah, feeds. Yeah. These are the guys who go and fetch data for your feeds. They look at keywords, they look at parameters like dates that you want to work in. They go and do all that data fetching for you, right? It's not really, it looks quite good when you look at it. It shows within certain parameters how good your data that you can get is. But it's not very accurate. So you still have to go in and clean it up. AI is getting better and better, so these things use a lot of AI. All of this will use a lot of AI, but this guy especially uses a lot of AI. These are the bad guys. The bad guys are the impersonators, the hackers, the thief, and the learner. Right? Impersonator, this is generally one of my favorites. Generally, if I'm involved in activities, internet activities that I'm asked to take, I take on the impersonator. That's my favorite, my own personal favorite, right? I impersonate. What do I impersonate? I disguise. I disguise myself. I become whoever I want to become on the internet. I become Gauraj. Right? It's not that difficult. It's an art you learn after a while. You got the hacker. Hacker is a little bit different, right? Hacker, he steals information. Impersonator just spies on you. He also steals information. He makes himself become you. There's a reason. Without a reason, why would you do that without a reason? You must have a reason, right? For example, you want to become Harvinder to give Harvinder students good marks. to name it those ones. Somebody did. Now, hacker bots are different. They steal. They get into your computer. They steal stuff from your computer. They steal stuff from your computer. Trust me. If this room has, how many people are sitting there? There's 5 people sitting there. 3 of your computers are infected. 3 of you have information theft bots sitting on your computer. 3 of you, chances are, have some of your information taken. The question why people don't use it, they don't consider it what they want. The good guys, the really good hackers, are very specific minded. They're going for something very specific. And it may not be found on your computer. So they then leave, they will not leave your computer, they'll keep your bot there. Because you have now become one of their agents, their botnets, but they won't use you yet. Unless they have something else they want to use your computer for. Right? But they're very specific. So these guys are very good. The thieves are basically harvesters, some are reverse engineers, they take things to steal things to make money. Purely making money. This guy, and then these guys are ones which will lure you, which grab you to go to a website to infect you. Very easy, right? Guy sends you an email. Anthony, right? Sends Anthony an email. Hi, I'm Mary. I want to see you tonight. And this is my picture. This is what I look like. Right now, Anthony here, of course, hey, girl wants to see me tonight, right? Let me see what she looks like. Let me see what she looks like is the danger, because when you click that what she looks like, you open either the JPEG or you click, it takes you to a website to open the picture, that's when your computer gets infected. Right? That's when your computer gets infected. All this, 90% of the malware detectors will not detect the stuff that comes in. And he went to a website, maybe he'll tell him, hey, this website is malware, maybe it won't. Right? And at that point he gets infected. So this one is quite easy. I mean, I had a student work on this. It's just social engineering. 75–80% of the people will react to certain types of emails. They will react. Right? You add that with information theft, and if I look like a genuine person sending you that mail, you will respond. I remember about 2 years, 3 years ago, there was a whole series of emails, which was very good. What they would do, they would go into somebody's email account, they'll hack into it, they'll get the database of emails. Let's say, you'll take Dr. Wan again, since she's paying at least attention to my talk. Okay, so take Dr. Wan, now take her email. And then what do? You send out to all her friends saying, I am now stuck in Malaysia. I just got robbed in Malaysia. I cannot go back to Vietnam. Can you please send me $1,000 US so that I can buy my ticket and come back to Vietnam? You know, you're my good friend, I know you, I just need the help from you for 1 minute, and then I'll pay you back as soon as I come back to Vietnam. Small amount, right? 500 US, 1,000 US. You say, oh, shit, Dr. Wan's in trouble. Avi gets that email. Avi looks at it and says, hey, this is my student, Dr. Wan. She's in trouble, right? $1,000. Yeah. Chances are, he may try to call, and either somebody will set up to answer and say, yes, Dr. Wan is here, she's not able to talk right now because the robber hit her on the head and she's lying on a hospital bed. How can I help you? Send the money. Okay, yeah, please send the money. This is the account. You send the money. In the meantime, Dr. Wan is sitting in Vietnam, in her room, happily watching a movie, not listening to the person who's talking on stage. Right? And the robber is sitting in Malaysia, robbing everyone out of the money. Not difficult. And that happened. People like you actually they hacked USN guys, now the guys that are in Nigeria and sending stuff. People send money. Not realizing she was still working, she was in our office. That's fine. Register, mail came that way. And they do a little bit of investigation, they know a little bit about the person, enough to, email correct people, enough to get someone. Botnet architectures. Okay, given the time I have, I'll just do a very quick introduction because the next 10 to 15 slides are actually on the hardcore architecture of the botnet. And if I do that at this time of the day, Suraj is already looking like 50%. So no, I really don't want to do this, but I'll just touch on it. And then I'll pass the slides, y'all can look at the slides, try to figure it out, right? So you have three main ones. You have centralized botnets, they are centralized, they use a centralized server, right there, communicates with all the machines that are infected, single point of failure. Second type is a distributed, which is peer-to-peer, no centralized servers, no command and control servers, the bots are all interconnected among themselves. These are the two main methods of bot management today. There is also a hybrid, which is a combination of both of these. Right? But these are the main ones. I said hybrids are up to you to work it out. These are the two main things that are out there. Centralized peer-to-peer. Bot commander updates his command to either the server or the main peer-to-peer, which then goes ahead, gives a hop-by-hop dissemination in case of peer-to-peer, and that information is then sent to all the tiny little bots. Very good, important thing to note is that distributed or peer-to-peer is resilient to node failure, it is resilient to attacks, it is resilient to getting back to know who the bot master is, which means generally the troops use this. This is the best method. It's the hardest to come back to. Almost impossible to come back to me. You have to be really good. And I told you this was a project done together with some German researchers on how to actually take apart bot networks, right? And the enumerated infected machines, infection cleanups, alert the stakeholders and ISP, these are the things we do. Identify control infrastructures, you arrest the bot master, you take down the servers. Sounds all very good, sounds very simple, but extremely difficult. Extremely. It takes a year, sometimes a year and a half to just crack up one entire botnet. Patience, lot of patience, lot of technology goes in, lot of time from researchers go into this. We reverse engineer malware to discover how the messages work. First thing we look at is the way the messaging works. Then we look at to see if you have a seed list or bootstrap list or command and control server, which is almost now disappeared. You never see this anymore. Monitoring mechanisms do not aid the botnet in activities like dissemination and maintenance of the botnet. Okay. Monitoring centralized botnets using honeypots, infiltration of CNC servers, IP flow correlation. This is easy. This is a little more difficult. But this is still, you'd be surprised. People still use, the lower end guys still use CNC servers. You know what are the most common ones?
Ada sini okey.
Gaming
Ada ni.
servers. Gaming servers are the easiest way to go and find.
Tadi yang ni nampak?
Tak block.
Yang tadi ni blok.
Block.
Okay, I like ni. Oh, it's okay.
Aware of security. Your kids. Right? Your kids take, how many of you got games on your mobile phone? How many checking you? How many of you don't have games on your mobile phone? Liars, because they come with games. You buy the mobile phone, they already pre-installed games on it. It's just that you don't use it, right? Okay, now how many of us play games? Some of us do. I play games too on my mobile phone. How many of you check the security before you play the game on your mobile phone? None. We all don't care much for trustworthiness. We all assume it's trusted, right? And to Apple and Android, it's trusted. It has a server, they connect to the server, they play the game. Good job, done. But what does the server give you? That's not their job to really look at the details. The server will normally function as a server, but it can also then convert your program into things that it wants it to do. It may not be the game itself, it may be someone else who has written code which is then updated through the game updater. You know, your game code updaters are updated through that mechanism, update a little bit of the software, and now my software sits within that game, or sits in your code. These days, most of your malware attacks come from mobile phones, by the way. Like that small thing, what's it going to do? How much bandwidth can you put out? You'll be surprised how much bandwidth can put out. This thing can put out easily, let's say 1 to 2 meg, 1 meg per second. His machine, his machine puts out maybe 5 meg per second. But this can put out 1. Each of you carry 1 of this. There's only 10 of you with computers open in this room, maybe 6. But all of you have mobile phones on. That's 30, 20 of you, 30 of you. 30 phones versus 6 computers. And that's the amount of traffic that's put out. So the new target is mobile technology, mobile phones. Infiltrating the command and control. So this is, as I said, it is done using games, using other things as well. Chat programs. WhatsApp. Yeah, that's my WhatsApp. IP flow correlation at ISP. This is very difficult. This means packet seeking, deep packet inspection, correlating artificial intelligence to see how the packets are flowing out, what's wrong with the packets flowing out. This is very difficult. Done it, my students have done it, some of them have their PhDs from it. But it's interesting again to take a look at the way it works. I remember one student was looking at mail servers, how mail botnets would work. And what he did was he correlated it from time domain to frequency domain. And on translating it into the frequency domain, you could actually see it clearly happening. It's a real bot that we were monitoring. You could see it happening at every certain time at the frequency you could happen again and again. The time domain was very hard to see. Okay, I won't get on to the next one. I'm not going to talk about all of this. I'm going to stop my talk here. The rest of it just explains how the mechanisms work. Do you have any questions? Yes?
Yeah, so what is the best way to counter this problem?
How do you want to counter a bot?
For a user like this, like ordinary mobile phone,
Don't use that.
and also for organization, you have some very sensitive information, some because normal research
Yeah, there's no real counter to the bot. So my recommendation is, number one, don't click on links you don't need to click on. Do not open attachments you don't need to open. As much as it's, that inkling, this pretty girl wants to date you tonight. Why? What does she look like? If you really want to see what she looks like, send it to Harvey's no computer, then go ahead and look at it.
Thank you. Say thank you.
So do not open links, do not open go to things, do not open attachments that you don't know about. This is how the infestation will occur.
What about antivirus software?
Antivirus software, there's so much malware out there.
So much. They can't keep
Because anything, imagine it'll take about half an hour for it to actually do a proper search and clean up. You want to wait half an hour while your computer is searching stuff, right? So it does a general search.
For people who are really worried, would it help if they reinstall the systems every now and then?
You could. You could.
Have much of the whole process.
You see, if you don't know, if you had it, you don't know which application actually carried it in. You reinstall your system, chances are you're going to reinstall that application anyway. If it's a game you like playing, you're going to reinstall that game also. So you're back to ground zero. You're going to reinstall the bot back again. Generally, understand something. Bots normally do not cause problems to their owners or your machine. There is even some argument that it actually helps protect your machine. It does. A bot, when it's in your machine, will make sure other bots don't come into your machine, or it'll try. It'll try to make sure other malware doesn't infect your machine. They're better than some of the antivirus software. Why? Because if you have malware in your machine and you realize it, you're going to reformat it. He loses one of his bot arms, right? Or his bot soldiers. So he will protect it in such a way that you will never try to reformat your computer. It's to his advantage.
How good are these honeypots?
Honeypots are pretty good. I mean, for catching average to normal guys, you catch them. We did an experiment. I can show you with.
What are the good ones?
Huh?
What are the good ones in the market?
But most of them are open source. Open source. There are projects. A lot of companies, countries, research organizations have projects ongoing. You can be part of their network. You can set up their honeypot, and together with them, you can share it.
How do they work? Honeypots.
So a honeypot will be, it'll advertise, for example, itself like an email server. So then you're going after those who are tagging email servers. So if I'm an email server, right, and I'm sending out emails. So it sees the configuration looks like an email server. So then it'll try to plant its bot there. When it tries to do that, the honeypot then monitors that. Honeypot software will say, okay, there's an intrusion coming from this new software has been installed, and then it starts monitoring it.
Perfect. I was looking question recently I was sharing the worry of the internet banking. I use internet banking. So I use internet banking for quite some time. I pay my utility bills, bank transfer, pay my loans. So what are the advices for the new user of the internet banking, like the children or my students who just started to enter the workforce? And what are the advices to advise them?
Your internet banking today is quite secure, if you ask me. Because the way they have put the mechanisms in after learning all the hard ways, it's quite good. One, understand it. You try to do something, it sends a pin to your mobile phone. So now, assuming that we have something called keyloggers, which will log. So I could have a keylogger, then I could go to the website, take your password, your user ID, go to the website, CIMB website, try to go ahead and do a transaction, but it'll still send the verification code to your phone.
Can you clone that? Can you clone the secret?
You could, but it will be such a complex thing. And when you clone, generally it means two people still get the messages. You are still valid. It's just another phone has the same ID. Right? So when I actually send, both people get it. So he'll still receive something that says, hey, I never made that payment, what's going on? So he'll get woken up to it. You know, and to clone something again, if the payment is large enough, then you do that. And in companies, internet banking, you have a maker and a verifier. So now you've got two phones to try to clone. And you're not sure who the phones belong to. Right? So it's, and by the way, HTTPS is quite secure. It checks against the verification of the machine you're using when you try to log into that particular website. It verifies that it is you. If it's not you, it will tell you straight. The machine you're using to come in, so that password is not verified.
Prof, recently there was a thing on CIMB banks and people lost money and all that. Was it true? Is it actually happened?
No, no one I did hear.
Yeah.
So,
recently it came out that some people lost money, and then immediately CIMB started asking everybody to change the password.
so the what?
I was asked to change my password.
Yeah. Even I was asked to change.
Okay, chances changing password. Did any of you lose any money?
No.
Okay, so chances of changing password, what would happen is somebody would have stolen file, password file. Also, in the earlier days, people were not so conscious. I know I wasn't asked to change. So people were not so conscious of their passwords. So the passwords were shorter. So some of you had passwords which were too short. So after a while, it became, people said, okay, man, those days, yeah, hard to crack. Now it's easy to crack. Change your password, make it longer and harder. So that's why you have that password checker. Some of the banks now have a password checker. If your password is not strong enough, it kicks it back and says, not strong enough, it won't accept it. Right? So that's a possibility what has happened. Your passwords are too short.
CIMB, they've actually took all the username. Yes. They took all the username in the file. And the log found out that this username and password is missing. Somebody else.
Can't hear you.
No, this is the whole list of username and password. Already extracted from the bank.
Stolen.
Stolen from the bank.
Okay, so you see, if they discover something is stolen from the bank, then they'll ask you to change it. But again, as I said, the modern day banking, you can have his username and password, but HTTPS first of all will verify the website you're going to and the machine you're coming from. Secondly, it still sends it to your phone. So without the PIN code, you can't complete the transaction. So it's not secure. I mean, if you ask, I use internet banking.
Is it safer to use your phone or the laptop for internet banking? Because I was told that the phone is like totally useless. Anytime they can hack into it, you know.
Phone was better.
You're looking basically at IP traffic. You're looking at the same methods of traffic. You're still using HTTPS. So the whole method is the same, right? So you're using wireless, so that may be why people
just want to share
a bit more.
one of my friends, he was doing internet banking. At that moment, a message came and said, there's a problem in your account, just retype the password. It was actually what we call phishing.
Yeah.
And they got your password, and then they got it.
I mean,
So the moment, okay, the other way sometimes what happens is, again, in the old days, where you didn't have mobile verifications coming in, if I get access to your router, generally when we in the computer security world, we say you become God on the network. Right? So if I get access to your router, I can reroute you to anywhere I want to. So if you go to CIMB.com, I will reroute you to my website. It will look like CIMB.com, where you enter your user ID password. And I will grab that. And then next moment I will go into CIMB and I will use that to take it. But again, HTTPS stops that, prevents that. I mean, it's a way to prevent that, makes it harder. And your mobile banking stops that. So today, both of those in place, to me it's very difficult. If something is less than 1 million, it's not worth the time and effort to try to go straight to that. Right?
I have a comment earlier. I think not that long ago, there were some payment applications whereby they don't allow you to use the phone. They were saying that it doesn't, the phone operating system on Android, maybe a new version of Android, wasn't
Very
strong
similar.
enough. And you have to use your laptop or the computer to
That's possible. I mean, earlier versions, it all depends on the bank. There are people, there are security people may turn around and say, we don't want this, we don't want that. But today, if I were to use a browser, I don't know if it's coming from the phone or the PC. How would I know? Right? It's a browser, it's an IP. I mean, of course, the phone, there is certain messaging that the phone itself tells the user or the server that I'm a phone. Why? Then I would display it in the correct method. I can easily override that. And don't tell the thing that I'm a phone. So to really know whether you're sending a message from a phone or a PC, it's very hard to tell. So again, the bottom line is, these guys, they're not going for your accounts. If they go for the bank, they will get the full information from the bank. They sell your accounts to other people. But since accounts, as I said, are now validated by phones and other means, it's not worth their time. And generally, there's a separation between the people who steal the information and the people who use the information. So a lot of bond guys will learn. I mean, they will go out, gather the information, and then they'll sell you. You want 100 credit card numbers which are valid? You pay me 1,000 US, I'll give it to you. So they don't use the credit cards. They only gather the information.
So they sell on the dark net, is it?
They sell it on the dark net. So you can just buy it, and then you can go and use the 100 credit cards and do your illegal transactions. Even credit cards today now send information, PIN information to your phone. So to me, it's a pretty good method. It's very hard to, unless the guy steals your phone, and he has your phone at that particular time, and that, yes, can happen. Then he can force the transaction. Also, banks, in order to cover their ass, they have a certain amount you can only transfer. I think it's up to 100,000 or 50,000. For individuals, I think it's 20,000 a day or something like that. You all know what is the limit?
Yeah, I think it's
20,000. So 20,000 is something the bank can afford. Most people too bad if it happens, right? I think companies are up to 50,000 a day, 50 to 100,000 a day. But companies have two. Remember, they have a maker and a verifier. So the security is even tighter.
Do you see that there is a, you see, obviously, the banks have an interest in increasing transactions among the users, in helping them, to stay relevant in this world. So they encourage people to use more Apple, stuff like that. But at the same time, they need to have some kind of protection. And we know that, you cannot have the ultimate, things that stop all these things. So, okay, they come up with establishing limits. And then the other thing is, they can insure, buy insurance, okay, against this sort of thing. So, there's the bonus on the part of the bank to promote their activities at the same time get it insured and so cover the account.
Yep.
Do you see that as one of the ways whereby
The banks are insured, so all banks are insured on their transactions. So they've got, as I said, they get their funds covered.
Yeah.
So if anything gets stolen from your account, chances you go in there, you tell them, look, this is a theft and all that, they'll give it back.
and like credit card?
Yeah, credit card guarantee.
Present you.
Yeah.
They say,
Same thing. I mean, most bank accounts, as I said, if you go there, you verify. Remember something, if you lie, that's a theft. You go to jail. So you won't lie. I mean, if you say, so 20,000, somebody stole 10,000 from my bank account, right? The bank will verify it, and then the chances are they'll give you back the money. And they'll get it from their insurance companies. If you want to lie, please do nothing less than $1 million. Right, Paraj? Nothing less than, make it worth your while. If you're going to end up in jail, make it worth your while. And the same thing with all these guys. That's why I'm trying to tell you all, they won't come after your bank account. They come after the big ones. There was a recent one about 2-3 years ago. My student was involved, not in the stealing, he was involved in the forensic investigation, so in your something. But it came out in the newspapers. It was a huge one. It was a theft done in a bank in Bangladesh, where the entire transaction was done prepared. So this was not to end customers. You see, they don't go after your little money. They went after the bank's money. So bank-to-bank transactions were authorized on the bank's network. I forget what the bank's network is called. It's SwiftNet or something. So they did a pile of transactions on the computers in that system using wireless networks from outside the bank. They got into the system. But this was also with help from people within the bank. They scheduled $40 million in transactions. The only reason they got caught was after 20-something million went out, one of the transactions, the receiver's name was wrong. See, they transferred from one bank to a bank in Sri Lanka, then to a bank to the internet exchange in London, and then to the Philippines. You see how the routing went. So on one of the names of the receivers, they typed the name wrong, so it bounced back. And because it bounced, and they did it over the weekend, so because it bounced back, when the guy came in on Monday to check, he had a message on his computer saying this transaction was not approved. Otherwise, everything else went through. If he had typed it right, it would have gone through, the bank would have never realized it happened, because it was the back-end banking system. It's already pre-approved, back-end, right? So they were already estimating $180 million was already stolen before they even detected it. Imagine it, back 180 million, it's almost $1 billion, it's already gone up. So after that, they started the trail of investigating where. Very nicely set up, very well done. They suspect it was Russians. The Philippines, the guy, one guy was arrested in the Philippines. What happened? The final transaction went to casinos in the Philippines. The guys went to the casinos with the chips to cash out the money. Somehow the name wasn't requires something there. So they all took their limits and then they walked out. It's like a movie. It's like watching a movie. Very, very, very well planned. Now to plan something like that, it takes a year, year and a half. You get someone in the bank, you got to plan which bank, they have to plan it in such a way. I think London was also a holiday on that day, so people don't go in, but everything is automated, it happens. Beauty of automation, right? Everything happens in the back end. You don't get affected, so you're not angry. Individuals don't get robbed, nobody is angry. Bank gets robbed, the bank is owned by not sure who, so nobody is angry. Banks got insurance, insurance pays the money, they're not angry. Insurance says, we are covered by the National Bank, they're not angry. Nobody is really angry. Nobody really lost their own money, right? So, investigation carries on, but there is no personal, oh, I really need to go after this guy, no. Harvey left already. I can't think of Harvey anymore. Not of the one shouting, hey, my money is gone, man. You guys stole my 20,000 ringgit. No, they just stole $20 million US. Almost 200 million successfully. Nobody did. And from what I heard eventually, from my ex-student again, he said that there's never really a closure to the case. They had some parts. And the last thing I read on this particular case was this year, or last year, end of last year, they arrested one guy in the Philippines, who then agreed. He said he didn't know anything about it, casino owner, and he agreed to pay back. He said, I didn't know, but sure, I'll pay everyone back. It's small, this was like $1 million, I think. Okay, any more questions? Don't worry about internet banking. Unless you're a millionaire, you shouldn't be worried. Anyone else? Any other questions? One last question, yes.
Recently we had this ransomware thing where they said if you don't pay so much of money to Bitcoin and all that, you will delete all the records in your So how
that happens,
how does that work? Similar kind of thing?
So that's easier to do than trying to steal your money from your banking account. Actually creating something that will encrypt your software or encrypt your data. Spread the same way these things spread. They're not botnets, by the way. That's malware. Comes into your computer, and if you're running that particular program, it encrypts the data. It may encrypt your word files, for example, and then say you want to decrypt your word files. Give me the password and pay me 10,000 Bitcoins.
How is malware different from bots? Bot is also a program, an algorithm, right? Malware is also a program.
Yeah, explained earlier. Bots have very specific things. They in fact, computers, they are used to attack things, or they used to steal information, right? Malware infects it. Malware comes in, it infects your computer with a particular reason, like this. You see, he doesn't go back to control it. He sends it, he has no control over it, but it could be already independent. That means you could plug your computer, unplug it from the internet, and it's still going to keep your files encrypted. Do you understand what I'm saying? So it has no connection to the main guy. It doesn't need to communicate to the main guy.
No communication.
Right? It already said, okay, message, you want your files to be decrypted, pay this account so much money this, or call this person, arrange payment. And that one is bad, because they get you. It's very hard, you cannot break the encryption. So what do? You have to end up paying that. Right? I know of a factory in multinational internet, they paid $500,000 US, 500,000 for the password. Oh yes, I don't know the name. I don't disclose stuff. But it's that it happens. And you get stuck. So that's why I say, for the malware guy, rather than trying to whack your account, as opposed to encrypting your files, the encrypting files part way is actually easier than to try to break into your account. I would rather take the same effort and break into the bank, directly to the bank. If you're really smart, you look at, you take the whole picture. I shouldn't be teaching you all this, but anyway, you take the whole picture, right? Go after the people money is not their own personal money. That's the first thing you do.
That they won't be.
When it's not their own personal money, you know, there's insurance that covers it and other things. So it doesn't become a personal thing to go after. Nobody is going to make 10 calls to the policeman. Did you get my money back? No. They're going to just write and say, you know, this is stolen, bank report, police report. Policeman will look at it and say, my, you know, we do this. Right? Gela, nanti kita cari orang itu. Cari mana, I don't know where. Right? So and nobody calls, you know, once a month, the management will say, did you check up on the police report? The guy will say, oh, okay, I'll do it tomorrow. So those are the type of things you want to go after if you want to get into the bad business. And then you find a circle in such a way that you never get caught. Okay, but none of you should do that. Okay. Thank you.
Habis.
Last question.
Kena bayar.
Like in my company, I always visit the email, not the same email address.